Hello, Year 4. This is your flipped classroom for computing this week. In this flipped classroom, there will be a little task for you to complete at home if you have access to Excel. But don't worry, if you don't have access to Microsoft Excel, you can do this in the morning when you come into school. You can watch the flipped classroom then, and you can actually try out this at school on the computer in the breakout. So don't worry if you haven't got Microsoft Excel to complete this task, but this flipped classroom, I'm going to quickly show you how to make a table in Excel and how to then input data, because in our lesson this week, we will be looking at how to do that and then also how to turn them into graphs and charts. But I'm not going to do that in the flipped classroom today, the charts. However, what we are going to do is looking about how we can create a table and how we can format it a little bit as well, so that when you come to do your lesson on Wednesday and you've collected all your data from the weather instruments, all you need to do is, you'll have a head start and you can just get on and create it straight away. So I would like you to try and make a table yourselves using Microsoft Excel, but I need to share the screen with you first so you know how to do it. Okay, so on your computers, if you've got Microsoft Excel, you should be able to locate it by clicking on the search here. This is Windows 10 or 11, I think. We type in Excel, and it's like this. It's a little green square with white X in the middle, and you just click on it, and it should now load up. It's sometimes referred to as sheets as well if you're using a phone or a tablet. So you go onto here and you'll click on your blank workbook. So I double click on my blank workbook, and I start filling and I open it up, and now I can start putting in my table. Now you can see here we've got A, B, C, D. So we've got the letters of the alphabet going across the top, and then we have numbers 1, 2, all the way down, going down the bottom. If you really want to find out what number that goes up to, you can sit there and you can hold the down arrow for as long as possible. It will keep on going, because as we know, numbers are infinite, and you could sit there for hours and just get to as large as the number as you want, but we're not going to be doing that today. So we're going to make a table. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to collect our data. Now, in your lesson this week, you're going to be putting the data in for the weather information that you've collected over the week. What I'm going to show you is a set of data that is slightly different. So this evening, when I got home from work, I sat outside in my front garden and I was watching the cars that were driving by. And in half an hour of me sitting outside, I was tallying how many different color cars drove past me. So what I do, I can then put that information into a table, because it was all on a bit of paper and I don't want to lose that, or I want to make it look a little bit more neater, and I want to put it onto Excel so I can start making bar charts and things like that later on. So what I do, I click on one of the cells and I'm going to give it a title. So it's color of car. Okay, and if I double click it here, it automatically opens the cell up for me so that the writing fits in that cell. One of these things is called a cell. I also need to give my work a title as well, so I'm going to write it in here. The frequency, that means amount of colored cars in half an hour. There we go. So I can actually make that a bit bolder. I can underline it. So it's got similar features to Microsoft Word, if you're familiar with that as well. So I'm going to make my table now. So color of car, and then the amount of times I saw it. So that's what frequency means. Frequency is a fancy word for amount. How many times, the number, the total number. So I'm going to then the color cars that I saw. There was a red car, an orange car, green, oh, green car, got rid of red, red, blue, white, black, and a yellow. Ooh. Okay, so these are the color cars that I saw as I was sitting out in my front garden. Now, the amount of green cars I saw were only 2. Orange cars I saw 4 orange cars. Red was quite popular. I saw 9 red cars go past me. Blue was even more popular. It was 12 cars. Now, white, there were quite a few white, but not as many as blue. There were only 8. Black, I saw 10 black cars, and yellow, there was only 4 yellow cars that drove past. So I input my data. I can use the arrow keys to go up, down, left, right, and that's all I have to do. And when I put something in a cell, if I then just move my cell, it will just save it for me. If I want to get rid of that, I go over to my cell, press the delete button, and the value disappears. Now, okay, this looks okay. I've got all my data in there, but I now want to format my table so it looks more like a table, looks more presentable, rather than just a bunch of numbers. Because if I was to print this out, it would just look like numbers. You wouldn't see the grid lines. So I need to make sure that the grid lines are in. So by doing that, I left click on the mouse and I hold it down and I drag and cover until my screen, until the area that I want to select goes a gray color. I then let go of the mouse, okay? And then I can now move my mouse over here. Now, I want to make my table have a border, so when I print it out, I get all the lines. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this one here. This is called the border function button, and I just click on it, and it tells me all the different borders I want. I want all borders. That means I want in this selection, every single cell needs to have a border around it. So I click it, and there you go. It puts it in there for me. Now, to make this clear that this is a title and this is a heading of the column, I may want to make my writing bold just by clicking on it and clicking on the B button here. If I want to center my numbers, I can click and drag and I can make them go into the middle if I wanted to, or I can make them go to the left. So I'm going to keep them there in the middle. And then the colors of my car. Now, to make it a little bit fancy and to help out with people who may not understand the English language, so this, to make it more inclusive and accessible for all, I can actually change the style of my writing here. So I can click on the cell, I can click on the A here, and this changes the font of my writing. Okay, so I can actually turn that green. But that might be hard to read on a white background. So I could, if I wanted to, actually shade the whole cell in green and then have black writing on the background. That may be a bit more clearer. So I'm going to do that for all of these so that if somebody who doesn't understand English words, they can see that this color is orange. So this must be the amount of orange cars that Mr. Langford saw. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put red, blue, there's lots of different white I can leave because it's there. Now black's going to be a bit of an issue because if I do this, you're not going to be able to see my writing. So what I could do here is then change the font of my, change the color of my writing to white so it stands out. And then I've got yellow. So let's pick a nice pastel yellow like that. So now I've made my table. You can see that the commandment colors of green cars that I saw in half an hour was 2. Orange was 4, red was 9, blue was 12, white was 8, black was 10, and 4 was yellow. Now, that's all I'm going to show you is, and it's quite straightforward, inputting the data and then formatting the table to make it look a little bit fancy, make it look nice and make it accessible for everyone to look at it. So what your task is going to be at home this weekend is I would like you to create a very simple table like I have done using data that you've collected over the weekend. Now, it could be, you could be watching something on YouTube and how many times an advert comes up, or you could be looking at the different types of adverts that come up in the space of, you know, half an hour or so. Where you could watch a TV program, and you could see what adverts come up there and tally the ones that are the same. You could do what I did and go out and have a look at how many cars are driving down your road, and in the space of 10 minutes or so, and just tally off how many you see and then put it into a table. If you wanted to, you could ask family members what size their shoe size are. You could do a table for shoe size, or it's a table for anything. So I leave that up to you. You can do obviously what I've done. That's absolutely fine. And if you really are stuck about what you can collect for data, just try copying what I've done on this screen. And if you keep the video playing, you can sort of minimize the screen. So you can have the video playing over here. You know, you could have me over here with the screen showing you what to do, and then you could actually be doing it side by side. So give it a go. It'll be really interesting to see what you've done. And if you are successful and you save your work, if you've got a printer, you can print it out, or you can email your work to the Year 4 teachers email address. Make sure you address it to Mr. Langford. Otherwise, Miss Williams and Mrs. Shah may think that they'll be getting so many emails. So make sure you email it to me, but through the Year 4 teachers, or you can put it onto Tapestry for your teachers to have a look at. And just to check that you have watched the video, obviously I'll be able to see your work if you've emailed it or put it on Tapestry, but also you need to come to me and tell me what's happened to my face today, because all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I've got this hat on my head, which I've never had before. My eyebrows and my beard have turned blonde. So you need to come and tell me what's happened, because if you, just to check that you've watched this video. Right, let me stop talking and allow you to get on with your work. Right, see you later, guys. Have a good weekend and see you next week. Bye-bye.